Alright, let's record this again. I was recording for half an hour and my memory card ran out of memory and I did not know. So let's start over. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, then welcome. My name's Christina, and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. So before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave any comments you have for me down below. Today we're going to be talking all about the brand new e.l.f. Halo Glow wands. We do have a contour as well as one blush. Now I was hoping that I could get a couple more shades, however when I went back to get them, they're all sold out everywhere. So we're just going to talk about these two today. If you guys missed it, I did do a first impressions on my YouTube shorts as well as Instagram Reels and TikTok. So check that out if you want to see my actual first impression. But today in this video, we're going to be reviewing this product. I'm going to be doing a demo for you guys, talking through my experiences as well as my thoughts. And then at the very end, we're going to talk final thoughts and if I would recommend these products to you guys. So let's get started. So the shades I have today for the contour, I have medium/tan, and then for my blush I have Berry Radiant. I purchased mine at Ulta, and when I went there were more of the blush shades. However, I just picked up the one because I was like, I don't know if these other shades are gonna look good on me. And then I got it home and I saw other people using it online and I was like, ooh, those are kind of pretty, and they went out of stock in every Ulta in my city as well as online. So these things are selling like hotcakes. And as we know, when e.l.f. comes out with products that are reminiscent to higher end products, they always do so well, so I should have known. But I digress. We are going to talk about these two. So these are $9 currently. You can purchase them at Ulta as well as e.l.f.'s website. I don't know if they're currently available anywhere else, but I am positive they will start to expand into like Target and CVS and Walgreens and all the good stuff. We are using the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Foundation in the shade 14O. Love this foundation. It's really become a staple in my routine. And for my concealer, I'm using the Urban Decay Quickie Concealer in the shade 50NN, anywhere I need my typical concealing. I bought the new brush kit, the brush trio that e.l.f. came out with, and I think that they also advertise them to be used together. And these are supposed to be for the putty products. So this one is for the putty primer applicator, but I do like using this with pretty much all my liquid products other than like foundation. And then we do have this putty bronzer brush, and it does have really good density and the bristles are nice and soft. And then lastly, we do have the putty blush brush. I do believe this one was in existence before this pack as well. We are also going to be using this Morphe V105 brush. I believe this is advertised to be used for concealer. It's kind of like a tapered concealer brush. It's very nice, and we're going to be using this to contour the nose. So here is the applicator. It is the same thing on the blush, and as you can see, it's pretty messy in that cap as well. There is a lot of product. We all know that a very famous high-end brand that does have this same applicator and is assumed to be a dupe of that one is the Charlotte Tilbury contour wands and blush wands. You know, I have not used the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand, and I also haven't used the blush, but I have used the highlight, and I know that that one actually has a locking mechanism on the applicator. However, this one does not. Pretty much if you squeeze this tube, product is going to come out of that sponge tip. So be very, very mindful, be very careful of that. I've used this 2-3 times now, and it's just very messy. So I like to keep a little makeup towel here that I wipe off like excess product on, or I wipe my brushes on and stuff. And to start, I like to just clean off this sponge tip, because typically whenever I use a sponge tip applicator like this, you do tend to get like half dry product on there, and if you use that on your face, it can get a little clumpy, it can get a little bit like patchy. So just a little tip for you there, just wipe off any excess product. When you squeeze this out, it does come out all over the sponge tip as well as the tip. So just make sure before you squeeze out any more product, you are using what is on the perimeter of the sponge. Let's go ahead and do a little swatchy swatch of this. So here is the contour. I'll do a little squeeze action here for you guys, because I know some people like it. Trypophobia warning here. And then as for the blush, The contour is matte and the blush is very metallic, does have high shine. So for me personally, I can tell you guys, I like to use this without an additional highlighter. The blush acts like a blush slash highlight for me already. This does dry rather quickly, so I like to work in sections with this. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little dot here, probably a couple dots there. I'm just going to tap as well as swipe it. And I like to go in an upward motion when I contour my face because I can use all the help I can get because I don't have defined cheekbones by any means. So anything that can sort of create that illusion is super helpful for me. On camera, this does translate quite intensely. So I just like to go back and forth in my mirror and then my monitor right here, so I can make sure that everything is looking blended at all angles and perspectives. I'm just gonna blend it up the temple as well because we are going to be contouring the forehead. And look at that. It's just, I'm trying to give you guys real time so you can just see how easy that blends. Like that blended in quite easily, and the couple times I've used it already, I find that it is not splotchy. It blends really nicely, and I'm just using a sponge right here because I kind of have a tendency to blend it very close to the center of my face. That's looking really, really nice and blended. I really enjoy how easy this is to blend out. It does look really nice and like even in person. So here is one cheek done and here is nothing on this side, so you guys can see that. And let's go ahead and take some of this up onto the forehead, and I like to push this into my hairline before I like bring it down onto the forehead. I do have quite a large forehead, so I find that contouring it is very important for me. Just gonna stop that halfway point right there because I want to give you guys sort of like a comparison of both sides of my face. And then of course jawline, which I do take quite a bit on the jawline right there. Gonna wipe off any excess on my brush because I do think I took quite a bit. All right, and here is what one side of the face is looking like with all of that contour on there. So the right side looking pretty sculpted compared to my left side here. Also looking a little bit more defined, just overall quite a bit warmer and sculpted. I feel like the tone of this is just super neutral, so it doesn't look too cool and gray, and it also doesn't look too red, which is really great. I think that this just honestly looks like a very, very natural contour, almost just looks like a shadow on the face, which is exactly what I want. I think that this shade will work perfectly for me going into the summertime as well as now, because I do tend to get quite tan in the summertime. Now, because I am going to be powdering my face later on, I am going to apply quite a bit more. It's gonna look pretty intense when I apply more, but because I know already that powder does tone down this contour as well as the blush, I do feel okay adding quite a bit more. So let's go ahead and do that before we go into the blush. I just wanted to show you guys upon initial application what it looks like. If you are not the type to powder your face, then you can definitely get a very natural contour that way without like overdoing it. Just look at that. It looks so good. Okay, and we're gonna do the exact same thing on the left side before we go in with the blush. Now, I do have this trouble area, and it happens every time I use any sort of like cream product there, but right around this mole, my skin never wants to hold on to product. I'm not quite sure what the deal is there, but it has been like that for years. I have tried sticky primers, I have tried mattifying, I've tried hydrating. I layer my bronzer typically so it's not as noticeable, and usually I can get it to where it's really not super noticeable. But when it comes to cream products there, I don't judge it based off of that spot because it happens with literally every product. Let me know if you guys experience the same thing on your face, like if there's one side of your face that just does not want to hold on to product. I have yet to encounter someone that has that same experience. So I'm not sure how to fix it. And again, adding quite a bit of product there because we are going to powder. And I love how I can build this up and it doesn't look super muddy even though I add like a lot of product, you know? All right, so that is going to be all of the contour that I'm using. Again, I know that it's looking super crazy, but we are going to tone it down a little bit. But let's go ahead and go in with the blush. So I'm just going to go straight onto the face. And I can use like a good amount of this blush without it getting too intense too quickly. But I do need to work with it in sections the same way that I did with the contour. I do feel like personally this blush does deposit more of that metallic finish than it does actual pigment. So it is going to come out quite sheer and you're going to get a lot of that sheen. You see that? And the reason I'm building up my liquids before powdering is because the first time I used these, I actually powdered and then I was like, oh, I kind of want to intensify it a little bit more. And when I used the contour and blush again, it kind of picked up that powder and the foundation underneath it. So you want to make sure that you have all of this down pat before you powder, you know? All right, so here is what the face is looking like. It's looking pretty crazy, but you see how sculpted that is. I really like that. Super easy to blend. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and powder my face so you guys can kind of see that in action before we finish up the rest of the face. I do have the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. This is in the shade medium, so let's use this with it. I do really like this powder. I think it's great, and I love that it has this little sifter closer thing. This is good packaging. I really like this. So I'm taking some in the cap right here. This is a Morphe times REL brush to set under the eyes. I forgot to contour my nose. I just did a little bit on the bridge. Hopefully that's okay. So I'm going to use that Morphe brush, whatever is left on that sponge tip, which hopefully I have some left over since I wiped it, and stamp it on. It's not the straightest line, but it'll be okay. I'm still quite new to contouring my nose. It's not something that I have been doing for years and years. I just started doing it a couple months ago, and I really like it. Okay, so a little bit of contour there, so let's go ahead and continue what we were doing earlier. And I'm using this Morphe brush, the A58, to set that contour and blush down. So hopefully you guys can see how much that like toned it down a bit. And it was just a little bit of powder, so there compared to there. Man, that looks so crazy. I definitely think I went pretty ham on the blush. I think I overestimated how much blush I was gonna use. So I will be right back after I do my eyes. Okay, so I'm back. Here's the full face. I did not top the blush or the contour with any powder products. Usually what I will do is I'll use my cream or liquid products as like a base, and then I'll finish it with a powder that complements it. So overall, I think that the performance of them is really, really great. I love the contour. I think it's super blendable. I think it's very pigmented. I really enjoy the way it like translates on my skin tone. I think that it is the perfect contouring shade where it doesn't look too much like a gray shadow or like a shadow cast on my face. It's kind of like a sweet spot of mainly being a contour but also giving a little bit of a bronze, you know, but in saying that, it doesn't make my face red, or I don't know, it just doesn't really look out of place. It definitely can translate as more of a shadow on the face, just a warmth almost. My biggest con, and this goes with both of them, is honestly the packaging. I do love the squeezy tube, but I almost wish that there was like at least a locking mechanism. Maybe if they did like a doe foot like wand that went in there that you can pull out and use, you know, on your face, even that would be better. But I don't like how messy this is. You do definitely waste a little bit of, well, a lot of product whenever you're wiping it off when you're done using it, you know, which isn't a huge deal if you're someone like me that has a constant rotation of products on a day-to-day basis. So I'm constantly using different contour products. So this is not something that I would use every day. However, if you are more like an average consumer and you like to have staple products and you do want to purchase something that you use every single day, I can definitely see someone going through this product quite quickly if you are wiping off the applicator and that sort and not using any excess. To be honest, the blush is good for what it is. However, it's not my favorite finish. I wish that it had a little less of that metallic sheen to it, especially because I know that e.l.f. came out with a highlight wand to go with these as well. I did not see those actually when I went to Ulta, so that's the reason why I only picked up these two. I don't think it's necessary to have both. If anything, maybe just do the contour with either the blush or the highlight, you know? I'm sure that those are also going to perform well, so I may pick it up if I do see it in stores just to try it out, but I won't be pairing them together. I think they just sit so nicely on the face. I think that they work really well with other products. There's really no moussiness or anything like that to it. It's just strictly a very thin liquid product, and in saying that, I think that they are super easy to blend. Now, if you saw some of my older videos, like the shorts, I did mention the Flower Beauty Low Light Liquid Contours. I have the shade medium and the shade above that, but I used mainly the medium one. Now, the sponge tip on this is actually a lot better. This one also has a locking mechanism, so you can lock and unlock it there, and this sponge tip is actually kind of like shrunken down. It's a lot flatter, so mainly the product comes out on the tip and then you can apply it there. So Flower Beauty definitely has e.l.f. beat in that sense when it comes to packaging, as well as like the applicator. However, the more I would use this, the more I would notice how difficult it was to actually blend it out. I really like the pigmentation of it, but it dries even faster than the e.l.f. contour one does. And it definitely can get very splotchy if you're not careful and you end up using too much product, so just be warned about that. For what these are, for $9 as a blush and as a contour, they perform very nicely. If you want to just do one, I would suggest the contour, but if you are curious about the blush, I don't think that it would hurt to try it out. But this one for sure is definitely going in my makeup bag. I can definitely see myself continuing to use this. I hope that you guys found this video helpful though, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!